Firearms channel. Today we're going to do a little something that's, we'll say every now and then, occasionally we'll see this with an older shotgun. This is a Remington 1148 in 16 gauge. Gentlemen use this gun for rabbit hunting, and because it is an all steel gun, it is kind of heavy, and he prefers now to have a sling on it since it's going to be carried all day in the woods. So we're going to try to help him out a little bit. There's not a lot of options on these as far as modern, say, accessories you can do with it. We cannot find a grip cap or magazine tube cap rather, that has a swivel stud built into it. So I'm going to put one on it for him to be able to carry a sling with. What I'm going to do is we're going to drill it. We'll drill the buttstock back here and use a swivel stud like that one. Okay, we'll show what this is, and we'll put this into the wood. It's got a nice design for the wood stock. It's got the very coarse, aggressive thread designed to be put into wood. So we'll put that on the back, along here somewhere within an inch or two of where his recoil pad is. Right now, the recoil pad on this gun actually is missing, and he has opted to just use a slip-on recoil cushion, which helps, better than not having one at all, for sure. Maybe sometime down the road we'll look at replacing that with a more permanent fixture, but for now that's what we're going to leave on it. We'll drill and tap for our swivel stud here, and on our fore end, to be able to attach the other part of the sling, we're going to go ahead and take this cap off the magazine tube, and I'll show you what I plan on doing with it. In this case, pull that off right quick. Get our fore end out of the way. Go ahead and take the barrel off, because it's going to be falling if I don't. Alright, so if you look into the end of our magazine tube, we have a pretty good size hole in here where there's no interference with anything as far as a screw or a fastener fitting inside that. So we're going to take and put a swivel stud like that onto the end of our magazine tube cap. What I have to do now is I'm going to put this probably going to put it into the lathe and drill the center of it out just enough that I can get our stud through it. And we'll come on the back side and probably put double nuts on it to lock it down so that it stays there. That way your cap will still screw back onto the magazine tube and be able to hold a sling that way. Okay. And with this gun particularly, we have the front bead also has been broken off sometime in the past. So you can see the bead is gone. And in this firearm we have the base for the bead to sit into is brazed, silver sorted onto the barrel rather, not brazed, but silver sorted on. It's broken off sometime in the past. And this has been around for a long time, been through a lot of brushes and briars, I'm sure, rabbit hunting, and sometime it got broken off. So we have opted to go and drill it out, tap it, and put a brass bead back in place of it. And what that means is, in dealing with the customer, he prefers a large bead, so we're going to use a large brass bead. This is a 175 thousandths diameter ball on top of it. So if I take my calipers and measure it, just so you know what we're talking about, right here we've got 175 thousandths diameter on the brass bead itself. And this one, we're starting out with a 356 thread on the stud of it. So why do you use that? So what you want to do is look at, there's not a hole here at all to start with, so I can use the smallest stud I can get to screw this into. That way, if sometime in the future that it gets broken off again and there's any damage in the threads, we have an option of going to a larger thread next time if we have to. So we're going with a 356 to start with, and then if it sometime down the road, 5 years from now, maybe 50 years from now, if there's damage again, and you can't use the 356 anymore, you can bump up to a 648 or even an 840 if you had to. So there's a couple options that way. But I'll start out on the small side and go larger if you have to. That way you have some options, okay? So anyway, that's what I plan on doing with this one. So if you'll give me a little while, we'll come back in a few minutes maybe and give you an idea. Just in case you're wondering why I'm doing this procedure like I'm doing it in the milling machine, I'm keeping my drill bit and my tap straight with each other. I've got my digital readout going back to the same spot every time, so that when I tap it, it will be exactly straight with the hole and not, hopefully not off-centered or a little bit crooked if I do things right here. This gives me a good starting point to keep the tap straight up and down, so that when we're finished with it, the bead will be true with the barrel and not not crooked with it. How about that? So we're going to go all the way through, clean out the threads, and then put the bead in, clean the inside of the hole out, because the bead will go all the way through to the inside of the barrel. And I'll give you a quick view of how that's going once we get the bead back in the barrel. Okay, now I've got the magazine tube cap drilled out. I use a number 10 drill bit on this one, and I have my swivel stud that's 1032 thread on it. I've got enough clearance so I can push that through the magazine cap. I'm going to place the nut on the inside. I have used some Loctite thread locker on this to keep it from backing off. So I'm going to snug that down, leave just a little bit of play in there so that it will swivel, it will spin when you put your sling on there and you're carrying the gun. It won't be locked in one place, because this does need to turn a little bit. Alright, and now I'm going to put another nut on the back side of that to help lock it in place. Things go well here. There we go, screw that one on down. Alright, and I'll lock this down just a minute here, and we'll be able to put it on the gun. And next we'll work on the swivel stud for the buttstock. Alright, now we're going to do our best to get a center punch, but in the middle of the stock, in the location I'm looking for our swivel stud. A little bit of a reference point there. And with our special super duper bit made just for such things, we will drill a hole down through there and get our stud screwed into it. This is probably not necessary, but I like to put a little bit of gun oil on the threads to help it screw into the wood a little better. I like to use my center punch to help, or roll punch rather. It makes it easy to turn these in typically. And notice I'm using a black washer down here, a little spacer. That also gives us a little bit of leeway in being able to get it snug and also turned in the right direction for the sling swivel to fit onto it and keep the sling straight. make it snug without being overly tight, but just the right place. A little bit more. Just like that. Alrighty. And there we have it. Now we're going to put it all back together for you, and we'll be ready to roll. Okay, folks, I'm going to show you a couple of things we finished on this good old shotgun here. Right here is where we put a new bead on it. This 175 thousandths diameter bead that's drilled and tapped 356 thread. So that gives it new life as far as being able to see a reference point for your aiming there. We also drilled out and installed in our magazine tube cap a swivel stud here, and it comes through and has a double 2 nuts on the back side with some thread locker to keep that from bothering anything there. And then flip the gun over, and we ended up also with a swivel stud on the buttstock. So now this gentleman can use a sling to carry it around all day when he's rabbit hunting. Okay. So anyway, that's just some of the things that can be done to help improve the usability of an old shotgun like this. Very heavy, very reliable gun, but they've been around a long time. This being Remington 1148, and she's still a good workhorse, but carrying it all day these days is a bit heavy on some people. Anyway, that's something we can do for you. If you like that, give us a thumbs up maybe, and for something I can help you with at Maverick Gun Works, give us a call. Thanks for watching.